All right, well, hello everyone and happy Monday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I hope you all had a great weekend wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Monday afternoon here. Now first, let's take a look at the weather to kickstart the week. A hot and humid one out there today with some afternoon showers in the mix. Let's turn over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis for what to expect. Brad?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Still waiting on some thunderstorm activity to develop. We had a little bit more over in northeast Alabama. Otherwise, I mean, it's just hot and it is muggy, and it's not going to change probably for the rest of the month. Yes, we're in this for the long haul. Computer says it's 100 in Athens. I kind of question that, but it definitely feels like it. 96 in Decatur. It's possible the dew point reading is wrong, and we've got temperatures closer to, say, 97. It's hot wherever you go, and there's not much on the radar. It's almost too hot for thunderstorms, believe it or not. Rain chances. Probably our best chance is coming tomorrow, and it's not going to be for everyone. And then we really don't have much of a chance Wednesday and Thursday. Here's that 3-day forecast coming up at 4, 5, and 6. We'll go hour by hour through tomorrow's forecast. Basically, it brings us a chance of rain as early as 9 o'clock in the morning, mainly east of I-65, and that all tracks south. And then we could have some boundaries set up to track to the west. So we'll talk more about that coming up. But overall, try to beat the heat as best you can. It is not going anywhere.
And also, don't forget First Alert Weather Extra. Again, that is tonight at 9:30. You can watch Weather Extra wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, he'll be back here in the CTV Center, and he'll have all the latest that he is seeing on the radar. Also, feel free to leave a comment. He will shout you out on Weather Extra. He always has a great time with it, so make sure to tune in. But it's now been 2 months since the May 20 tornadoes ripped through the Tennessee Valley, damaging several areas of North Alabama, including the Killingsworth Cove community, one of the areas that saw some of the worst damage that day. We followed up with several residents in that community. They say they are still cleaning up 2 months later. 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy reports.
I've seen the destruction, you know. I've been involved in it a lot over the years, but I've never, when it's yours, it's different.
On May 20th, an EF2 tornado destroyed Dusty Gibson's home.
It's hard for us to focus on what we lost because of what all we've gained since then, you know, through our support system and through just a lot of really good people and even total strangers for that matter.
That tornado destroyed most of the photos that were in the home. However, one of the photos traveled several miles, eventually landing in Jackson County unscathed. Gibson was able to retrieve that photo from a complete stranger in Jackson County.
And we actually have them hanging up in the house that we're living in temporarily. We've got them hung up as just kind of a little memento, a little reminder, you know, of just how good all this is turning out. The Lord's been good to us through this.
He tells me that his family is thankful for all the support that they have received from the community during this difficult time. Just across the street from Gibson, another home was leveled in the storm. The captain of the Killingsworth Cove Volunteer Fire Department, Nathan Aston, says that they could hear noises under the rubble. As firefighters were digging through all that debris, they saw the woman who was living in the home watching them from across the street.
Realized that she was the occupant and she was in fact safe, and it turned out that we were trying to rescue a groundhog that had got pinned under the rubble. It's been an interesting reminder over the last couple months, having to drive past this location 4 times a day and just remembering what used to be here and what it looks like now, and the awesome power of God and Mother Nature, but also the immense blessing that nobody was injured, you know, nobody was trapped.
And now a story in case you missed it from over the weekend. In Decatur, an adult and 3 children were injured in a crash involving a golf cart, causing them to be airlifted to the hospital. 48's Noah Cowell has the details.
This wreck happened around 9 Saturday night right here on West Chapel Hill Road, and it immediately drew the attention of people in several nearby homes.
I heard a loud thump, and when I opened the door and looked out, all I heard was children screaming. It shook us to our core.
The neighbors say the last thing they expected to see in the road was a golf cart, and the front of it was completely destroyed. They say one of the adults had a broken ankle and a deep cut in his arm, and while 2 of the kids seemed to be fine, they say the third one had a bad cut right above his eyebrow and had trouble remembering things. That child was later airlifted to UAB Hospital. We have not received any sort of update on the conditions of the victims at this time. And the neighbors also say the driver of the car was in shock. One of them says the driver spoke to her afterward, insisting that he couldn't see the cart until it was too late.
This guy approached us and he just said, I didn't see them. There were no headlights, no nothing. That you just don't do that. If you're going to be out on a golf cart, for one thing, you don't go on the road. But there's headlights, turn them on.
But other neighbors I spoke with said the golf cart doesn't have any lights at all, and there's no lights on the road either. They believe this incident could have been much worse, saying drivers often speed through the area even when there's less visibility.
I hate anybody to be hurt, especially children, and thankful that God was with those babies. But you don't put children on golf carts at night.
And thankfully, everyone is expected to be okay. But now we're going to go to break. But coming up after the break, we'll go through the latest on the ICE raid at an Albertville restaurant and 35 years since the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, a restaurant in Albertville is recovering after 7 of its employees were taken into custody by ICE agents. 48's Nick Ballinger spoke with the Marshall County Sheriff, Phil Sims, and has more.
An Albertville restaurant is short-staffed after 7 of its employees were placed into ICE custody. Marshall County Sheriff Phil Sims wants Friday morning's arrest to send one message.
If you're going to be around and hang out with people who are breaking the law, whether they're here illegally or not, and then we encounter you and determine that you are here illegally, then you're fair game.
Marshall County deputies, along with members of a Homeland Security task force, ICE agents, executed an arrest warrant at the Chow King restaurant on Highway 431. Deputies found this man, Shu Fang, an undocumented Chinese national. Fang had an active felony fraud warrant out of New York for allegedly being a part of a criminal operation to help other undocumented Chinese immigrants obtain driver's licenses illegally.
With the move that's going on in our area and the immigration problems, you're going to see a good cooperation between your local law enforcement and our federal partners.
Homeland Security officials then found 6 more employees who they say are also undocumented, 3 from Mexico and 3 from Guatemala.
This was not a workplace raid. I'm going to make that clear. This was not a workplace raid.
Sims and ICE officials tell me when they're executing a warrant on a suspected undocumented individual, they have the right to check anyone's legal status in the building.
And now another story in case you missed it. This year is the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act being signed into law. The bill has changed how people with disabilities are treated in the U.S. Yesterday, the man who wrote and sponsored the bill 35 years ago was in Huntsville campaigning for his decades-long mission to raise awareness for Americans with disabilities. 48's Nick Ballinger reports.
Nolan, the bill's primary author, Tony Coelho, is here in Huntsville continuing his decades-long mission of raising awareness for Americans with disabilities. Coelho was a congressman from California when he wrote the ADA Act in the 1980s. He has a disability himself, living his life with epilepsy, and he says he was denied jobs because of his disability. The bill protects disabled individuals from being discriminated against. This includes in employment, housing, transportation, and many more areas. He spoke at a fundraiser for the Disability Resource Network, hoping to raise funds toward a scholarship for students with disabilities.
Since 35 years ago have been dramatic as we go forward. Somebody your age, you never knew what it was like before. And so that's what we do in trying to educate people is, here's the way it was, here it is now, we got to go forward.
The Disability Resource Network is always accepting donations towards their scholarship fund. You can find out how to donate on our website attached to this article at WAFF.com. Reporting in Huntsville, Nick Ballinger, 48 News, on your side.
And now let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. Campaign signs in Albertville getting vandalized. 48's Noah Cowell will have more on that coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, a new proposed water treatment plant along the Flint River in Newmarket. 48's Callie Neese will have more details. And finally, a very sad story in the entertainment world. A Cosby Show star passing away at the young age of 54. Get all those details coming up, and these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And it is 3:50, y'all. It is time for Facebook fun. And our 48 Facebook question of the day, what would you recommend people do when visiting Huntsville? And let's see, there is plenty to do in the Tennessee Valley and Huntsville. Let's just see what you guys had to say. Orion, see a show at the Orion Amphitheater. That was from Jeremy Rutland. That is a very good recommendation there. I saw John Legend back in, I want to say, October of last year at the Orion Amphitheater. Beautiful arena, awesome concert that was. Claire said, see the new troll at Huntsville Botanical Garden. She is amazing. Absolutely. I haven't made my way out there quite yet, but I've seen photos of that troll. Thank you for commenting. Go to a Huntsville Havoc hockey game. Absolutely. They are rowdy. It is such an awesome time. That is a must if you are visiting Huntsville. Christy said, Big Spring, Low Mill, so much to do. Mary said, HCFC game, so much fun. That's right, I went at the beginning of the season this year, and they absolutely dominated. Awesome time at Wicks Family Field. Let's see, the Trash Pandas, another awesome thing you can do from Jeffrey. Orion, and I feel like this next comment, after this comment goes away, I don't think I covered that. The Shenanigans Comedy Theater, that was from Kimberly Wilson. Another awesome thing you can do here in Huntsville. And I'm surprised I did not see too many people say go to the Space and Rocket Center. Of course, that is a no-brainer. If you come to Huntsville, you have to do that. When I was in 6th grade, I went to the Space and Rocket Center for Aviation Challenge. I am an Aviation Challenge graduate, did it in 6th grade. And earlier, I want to say maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I went up here to Huntsville with my grandparents and we visited the Space and Rocket Center. But so many awesome things to do here in the Tennessee Valley as well as Huntsville. So much awesomeness. Thank you all for commenting. You all had super awesome comments today, and it always makes my day reading y'all's comments and just seeing what y'all have to say. But that is just about it for today's Before the Fourth. Thank you all for sticking around with me this Monday afternoon. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.